Welcome to the Hudson Valley Disc Golf Podcast. This week we've got Tim, Evan, Corey, Alex, Jason, and Jaimen. He should be here momentarily. No Randy tonight. He's on his way back from a World of Warcraft weekend. Corey, did you play at the Battle Royale this weekend?
I went, yeah, I played so bad.
Did you get Stony killed?
I might end up as the worst seed.
No.
Yeah, I threw +6.
Oh my gosh.
That would be pretty rough for you, yeah.
Yeah, no, +13 is the worst one so far when we talked to Brandon on Saturday. So
Evan, what did you shoot?
+6.
I thought so too, yeah. Oh, there's the matchup. Week 1.
I didn't go, so you beat me, Corey.
Yeah.
Are you getting in it, Jason?
Yeah, I'm in it. I just was too busy at Minekill to go today, so I'm going to have like the bottom seed or whatever.
All right, that means you won't be playing against me for anytime soon.
It's like I might need to sign up for this late then. Like I was feeling like I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not, and then also like trying to figure out scheduling and everything for a whole bunch of match play matches when I've got, a bunch of tournaments coming up. But it seems like everybody else is doing it, so I might have to do it anyway.
The more the merrier, and
yeah.
Now there's cool upset potential, so I think that's fun.
Just tell yourself that you probably have to play during the week.
I can play during the week. I can do that.
Like, oops, Pat, I'm not going to be on until 9 o'clock because literally this Monday was the only day that I could get around and match with my partner.
Yeah, well, fuck, Evan does it every week usually, so that's no big deal.
I will say Tuesdays are off limits. I don't want to go through the hassle of trying to find someone else to run J-Dubs to miss for a match play thing, but
they'll have to show up at J-Dubs, Corey, and you just do a match while everybody else does J-Dubs.
Oh, yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. If it's one of the
It'd have to be
Park,
the third round or whatever it is when it goes.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Park.
What are the first round courses? Does anybody know?
All the short stuff.
CPS White. Damn, I was just looking at that earlier.
Oh, that's cool. Gives me a chance. Is the Ace Place on there? Any chance?
That would be awesome.
Thatcher Park, CPS Whites, Prospect Park, White Elephant Course, Crandall up in Glens Falls, Stephen P. Wallace, and Saratoga.
Oh, awesome. Like, I think I played 2 of those courses.
I was talking to Brandon yesterday about it, and he's like, he wants that to be where, some of the higher rated players might have, make it more of a contest.
Yeah, they don't play it very often,
right.
And it balances the,
right.
I dig it. Plus, you want to get as many courses in as possible, and you don't want to save those for like the later rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was saying is like those who make it to like CTK and Greenville and that round, they're gonna be able to throw a little bit more than they were in the first 2 rounds.
Oh no! I wonder if I just caused a big problem. I saw Alex's invite come in, so I declined it.
Into the group?
Into the group, yeah.
Oh, you mean the Facebook group?
Yeah, I tried to join the Facebook group, and he's like, "No, screw you."
It allowed me to do it. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I pressed the You might have to resend that or message Brandon.
I just sent it again.
Oh, okay, it did come through again. I clicked approve that time.
All right, there we go. It didn't actually notify me that you had declined it, so I wouldn't have known.
So, Corey, you went this weekend? Nobody else?
I went.
Oh, you did? Well, first, how's your back?
Feeling better. Like I said last week, Monday was the first day I woke up without any like real bad pain going up and down my leg or anything. So when I went to PT on Thursday, I'm like, when do you think I could do this? And he's like, if you're feeling okay, just give it a shot and see how you feel when you're playing. So I was like, oh, I'll take that as a chance to play in the Battle Royale. So yeah, it was all right. Woke up a little bit sore, so I stretched out a bunch before I went there. And of course, tried to get an extra round in before with Evan and Brian, getting there at like 8:30. But we were playing slow, so we only got 9 in. Played a pretty terrible warm-up for the first time playing disc in 3 weeks or whatever it's been. But when we got to there, it was 4 of us on a card. It was Mike Zanchelli, Brian Monahan, myself, and Josh Lee started on hole 1. I mean, there's not much. We started playing. I felt pretty good through most of the holes. Didn't have any real pain, so that was nice. I woke up a little sore this morning, but playing the round, I didn't hurt anything. I didn't feel bad. And I actually wiped out on hole 10 in the middle of the field. I realized that I need new shoes. I have no traction right on the sole of my foot, so slipped right out from underneath me. Or maybe it's the ball of my foot where there's no traction. But, I mean, highlights of that round on hole 9, Brian Monahan hit not the first tree on the left-hand side, but the second one that you're trying to miss. Kicked backwards right into the middle of the fairway, but was basically right at the mouth of the fairway and threw probably the nicest flex forehand I've ever seen in my life, even like watching pros play at Maple Hill and stuff like that. He flexed it down the tunnel absolutely perfectly and went deep of the basket by 25 feet from the 75 feet off the tee. It was beautiful. So he did that and then just ended up parring the hole and missed that putt. So that kind of sucked. But from that first shot, it was pretty impressive. But other than that, it was a good round. Played well. If I didn't play hole 4, I would have had a really nice round, but hole 4 got me good. I basically was throwing my second shot from down the path from 3 to 4. So that was fun. But yeah, I think I shot +3 and I took a triple bogey on that hole. So I would have had a nice round without that.
You said +3?
I was +3. Yep.
Huh. It's like half of what Corey shot.
Tim got me again.
Yeah.
Too bad we're in different pools.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Brandon was talking about that too. I don't know if this is secret to keep out of the public, but he's not sure if he has enough pros to separate them.
He might have enough now.
Now he does? Okay.
Well, we also kind of addressed that last week, so it's already out there, kind of like
Yeah, that's true.
that it's 50-50.
Yep. I know. Like as of Saturday, he had 7. So I don't know if Alex joins, I probably will bump it up.
Yeah, I think there might have been a couple other late additions, and he did mention like as we were leaving today about like maybe playing more matches or whatever for the higher pool. But like I said to him, it's like I'm sure most of the people in that pool play enough events already that like they probably aren't interested in playing more of these matches. You know what I mean? Like not saying that people in the lower tier don't play tournaments, but they might not play as many of like their calendar might not be as filled.
I was going to say it might take longer for those pro matches, so
yeah,
might be better to just leave it.
Well, he should bump Josh Ali up to that pro league.
What is he, 913.5 rated?
Yeah, right. He's right there. And he was on hole 10. I think he was like 40 short of the mouth on his drive. He's gotten so much pop
He
on his
throws far.
distance. He throws so far now.
The fact that there's a rating is, I think,
Yeah. And
there's going to be a 913. I don't know what his rating is, but there's going to be a 913 guy.
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
somewhere.
And that means next year he probably won't be in that league. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he could just have bad days. That's the other thing. You're playing the CPS whites, theoretically. That ain't going to help him, being able to throw to the mouth at 10.
He could have a Corey day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We never got Corey's round at Stony Kill.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, it sucked.
What'd you do? Anything? Like, what was your worst hole?
Okay, well, I'll give you the quick recap.
Yeah, give me the quick recap.
I had some residual super glue on my finger from the day before. I figured I didn't need to add more to it. It was just Stony Kill. I wasn't going to be throwing a bunch of extra shots. The first, full power shot I threw it didn't hurt my finger, but it tingled. So from then on out, I just, subconsciously was not gripping that tight. And I was just, early releasing everything and airballing some putts, and it just compounded, which led to a +6. I think I birdied 2 holes. Hole 5 was one of them. No, 3 holes. 1, 2, and 5, maybe. That was it.
Scott Mosier and Rory Tice shot a -14 at Stony Kill Random Dubs on week 9.
Yeah, Scott's really good, and Rory's been absolutely crushing it.
We got the DisCap and Unified Beerworks present the Malta Memorial driven by Innova. Evan, you the only one here who played?
I did play. I don't think anybody else here did.
Okay. Well, first of all, was anybody even aware of this tournament? I didn't even know it existed.
I was the only person in MA40 for a while, and I was debating whether or not I was going to play in a division by myself. But Ryan Yadow and Mike Sancelli joined in, so we did have 3 in the division.
I mean, it got 71, so obviously other people have heard about it. I just personally, until I saw him post the results, I had no idea it was even a thing.
This was Jeff's first tournament at Shen. He was originally hoping for it to be a B tier, and actually I see the pro person. Oh no, yeah. So I don't know if there was an added cash thing, but it ended up being a C tier and had a pretty good turnout.
It was on my radar as something that I could potentially do, especially when it was a B tier. But this is the one weekend I've had where I'm not doing disc golf for 4 or 5 weeks on either side. So I took the week off.
And I would have been there if I wasn't already planning on playing Sunstein.
Okay. I'll go over the results and then we'll hear about Evan's round. So MA3 Mixed Amateur 3, Charles Bednarchik won that by a stroke over Andrew Chamberlain. I heard of that guy. Ryan Lawrence won the MA2 division with a -5, beat Justin Hickok by a stroke. David Chaikin won MA60. Kenji Klein tied in MA50 with Jamie Perrone, but looks like must have won in some kind of tiebreaker. Evan, you know anything about that?
No, I'm not sure. Not to jump ahead, but I was running the ace throw off, so they may have been playing off before or during that. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, what about MA40? How'd that go?
It went well. I had a good day. I got there pretty early. I asked Jeff and Carolyn if there's anything I could do to help, so he gave me the CTP flags to run out. I grabbed my 2 tournament discs, which were a flat top KC Pro Rock and a Champion T-Bird. So some classic Innova discs. Threw on my sneakers and brought the flags out. Realized that the mud was a little too slick for sneakers, but luckily I had boots. And I checked before I left the house that all shoes were matching, correct size, color, etc.
Add it to the checklist.
It's on the checklist. I think I sent photo evidence. I might have sent a picture to Tim. I don't recall who got that.
Yep.
So yeah, brought the flags out, went back in, changed into boots like I said. 3 of us in the division, myself, Ryan Yaddo, Mike Sancelli. Round 1, we got to play with Jeff, which meant that we started on hole 17 right by the pavilion, and we were going to finish right there. Oh, I did start out with a bogey. It was a tricky putt, not super far, but all in all, I had a very boring round. Got that first bogey and then 4 pars. Hole 4, I took a bogey. That's that kind of, you got to go straight. There's a dead tree right in the middle, and then you got to kind of go left to right, and the green is guarded. The only real mental mistake I made on hole 7, which is kind of a short, goes downhill, and then it's left to right, and then it drops off steeply right behind the basket. I hit an early tree, kicked left, pitched up to where it was like, do I run this par putt or slide it up for bogey? And I should have slid up for bogey because I ran it and it went all the way down the hill to the creek. But luckily I got up and down and just got a double. So +4, which was an 873 above my current rating. Not quite my goal, but I was only 3 strokes behind Ryan, who shot a +1. Lunch break, rode over with Ryan to Jersey Mike's, grabbed a couple sandwiches. Round 2, Jeff put himself on our card again, which was cool because we started on hole 17 again. Again, had a pretty steady, calm, smooth, boring round, whatever you want to call it, but only took 3 bogeys this time, and I did get a birdie on hole 9. So that round was +2, 893 rated there, so worked out to an 883, so pretty happy with that. Finished the day at +6. Shout out to Ryan Yaddo. Second round, he shot 3 down with no bogeys to finish the day at 2 under and take down the win in MA40. Awesome playing with those guys all day. One of the perks of playing in MA40, Ryan pointed out too, is that you kind of know you're going to have a good card, and that was certainly the case. So shout out to Jeff. I had a great time, and that's that.
All right. Looks like Megan Bursell won the FA1 division, Women's Amateur 1. Logan Aikens won MA1 by 1 stroke over Anthony Bahansky and Chandler Harvey. That Bahansky guy, he's got to be getting tired of coming in second by a stroke. That's, I think, 2 weeks in a row.
I got to shout out Logan. That kid's gotten so good so fast. I'm trying to think when the first time I played with him is at Crandall, and he got like his second ace ever while we were just warming up for something there. And that was 2 years ago. And now he's winning MA1. He's gotten so good. And he's just such a cool guy to hang out with. So he's a great guy to have on the card.
Nice. Joe Jaskolka won the MP50 division over Jeff Wachowski. MP40 was Michael Thomas by 2 strokes over Danny Parton. Amber Stout won FPO, and Peter Hod smoked John J.P. Hafner and Nick Terralabithia.
Terralabithia.
That's a 10-12 rated and a 10-11 rated round. That's incredible for the cheat code, Peter Hodge.
Yeah, absolute fire. So there was no ace. We had an ace throw off, and Peter got third in the ace throw off. So he was just dialed all day.
Did he pretend to have a dubs partner or something?
I don't know.
Maybe this course is just particularly friendly to lefties. I don't know.
Quick shout out Terry Hudson for spotting on hole 2 for pedestrians and cyclists coming by. He was giving us go and no-go signs, so thanks T-Hud.
All right. Well, all 3 of those guys cashed, so not too shabby. Like I said, 71 players, Jeff Wachowski, tournament director. Anything else on the DisCap and Unified Beerworks present the Malta Memorial driven by Innova? No?
I don't think so.
All right. Jason, you got a rules question?
Sure. I'll do an easier one tonight since the last couple were tough. Got to come up with some name for who's going to apply this rule to. Corey, who do you want me to pick this week?
If it's going to be a bit of an easier one, then I would say Yvonne. It's a French-ass name.
Okay. So Yvonne, let's pretend he frequents J-Dubs quite a bit, and he goes to Corey's league, and he's pretty used to playing with Corey all the time. Steps up to his first PGA tier. He signs up for Mindkill. He's going in there and gets to hole 5, and he's at the bottom of the mound, and he's used to playing dubs, so he flips his disc with his hand instead of marking it with a mini, throws a shot for a birdie, and it goes in the basket. He celebrates, runs up, but then his card mates tell him that he can't flip his disc. So what is the penalty, and how does he play his shot?
Well, first thing I would do is I would look it up in the PGA app that I'm using to score the round. But initially, I would guess a 1-stroke penalty for improperly marking your lie, if that's even a rule, but
That sounds right to me.
yeah.
Honestly, to get a little bit, real world with this, I think 99% of players would be like, hey, you can't do that, and then not call him on anything, and then make sure next time that he uses a mini or something.
But this is an A tier.
Even at an A tier, I've found that most people tend to be pretty lax about something like that.
Like catch it before they do it, like don't let them do it, or
Yeah, either they catch it before, or I don't know if how strict most people are, but if it was me, I would try not to penalize them for doing something like that because the result is the same. But if we're going by strict appliance of the rules, I think what Corey said is right. It's a 1-stroke penalty for improperly marking lie.
All right, so Corey and Alex going 1-stroke penalty. Anybody disagree with them?
I don't think so, but this happened to me at the turkey throwdown last year. This kid flipped his disc, then stepped on his disc and kicked it forward.
And then Tim flipped his shit.
I had a little bit of a cringe moment where I was like, whoa, you can't do that. And then his doubles partner was like, care to educate us? And so I did, but he didn't throw his putt yet, but I kind of got into his head so much that he missed the putt anyway. But yeah, I think it's just a misplay, 1-stroke.
All right, Jaimen on?
Yeah, I don't know. I would look it up. But I had a very similar situation to that happen this weekend where it was the second hole. The guy, he didn't mark his disc, or he didn't flip it. He marked it with another disc that he had.
Ooh, I think I know what happens if you do that.
Well, what happens is I give him one of my extra minis and I say, hey, that's not how that works.
Exactly.
And the funny part for me was, so I walked over and gave him a mini after. I was like, yeah, you got to use a mini for something like that, man. He's like, no, the rule is that you just have to not use the disc that you're marking. I was like,
No.
what? No. So it was one of those things where he just had no fucking clue what he was talking about.
Yeah.
My understanding of that is that a disc is legal within the physical dimensions to be a mini.
No,
But if
it's
you
not.
use one as a mini,
It's not.
that you can't use it for that the rest of that round. That's what
Then
I
the
thought.
first part of your sentence doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm willing to
Yeah,
admit
this
that I'm
is-
wrong.
This is too big.
What happens is when you're playing casually, a lot of people say they know rules without actually reading the rule. You know what I mean? And if somebody sounds convincing enough, why wouldn't you believe them?
And I'm impressionable enough, so yeah.
Well,
Evan, I thought that was a rule too. I heard somebody tell me that, so I thought that was a rule.
And, the best way for people to believe something is just to hear somebody else say it with confidence.
Yep.
That does sound something just dumb enough for the PDGA to do that.
Yeah.
It got us on the conversation of it's really stupid that minis have to be smaller than your lie. If anything, they should have to be the size of your lie because that would make calling infractions way easier.
I think, as I understand it, the spirit behind the rule is whatever you put as your mini has to be, significantly distinguishable as a mini so you don't accidentally mark it again. Like if you mark it and then walk back to your bag, grab a disc, and then walk up and be like, oh, I need to mark this. If there's a mini there, then it's obviously you've already marked it. If there's another disc there, then maybe you did mark it, maybe you didn't mark it, and then you get an extra, 8 inches or whatever. And that's what they're trying to avoid.
If they want it to be distinguishable, the rule should be stop making your minis look like fucking frisbees.
Yeah, make it a rectangle.
Also true.
That's the width
Yeah.
of the lie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If that rule had any actual reason behind it, it should say your mini has to be the size of the playing area behind it. Back in the day, that's kind of where that rule came from. It didn't get changed when the stance rule got changed because you used to have to be behind your stance. You weren't able to do that whole sheet of paper thing. It was a smaller area. So I think that's where that came from, but I could be wrong on that too.
For a little bit of time, there was something that kept getting advertised to me on Reddit and Facebook and whatever. It was a mini-sized projector that projected a laser of your lie behind your disc that
What?
I think in practice just completely did not work whatsoever.
What in the Spy
because-
Kids?
Yeah, basically. But yeah, like a little laser thing that was supposed to shoot out, the image of a sheet of paper effectively behind itself.
That's
so that you can
crazy.
see where you're supposed to put your foot. But in practice, if there's anything in the way, like grass or sticks or anything like that, it just completely screwed with it and didn't work properly.
Or if you're on a curved surface. Like a
Exactly.
mound.
Yeah, or on a hill or something like
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
Or
It was not
in a
effective.
puddle, and then you have to take into account refraction and reflection.
All right. So the answer is 802.06. It's official rules of disc golf, PGA, marking the lie. Part D, throwing from a lie marked in a manner other than described above is a marking violation. Player receives a warning for the first violation and then receives a 1 penalty throw for subsequent violations after that.
Oh, that's bullshit. The league's getting too soft.
This is kind of like the foot fault rule used to be. It used to be the foot faults were a warning. For a foot fault, you had to redo it, but then they changed it to a penalty. But marking your lie is still just a warning. So in that case of the example I gave, that would just be a warning. It would still be fine. And then in the example Jaimen gave of using another disc, that would be kind of the same situation.
Oh, nice. I did it right.
And that makes sense because with the foot fault, to what Alex said, you're gaining an advantage by foot faulting. When you just mark it with something that's not approved, you're not necessarily gaining an advantage. So when I disagree with Alex earlier, I apologize, Alex. You were right.
And the way Alex was saying, he's like, yeah, it feels like, you wouldn't want to like penalize somebody for that. And I agree totally. And I think that the rule makes sense in this case.
That's always my feeling. Like, I think with rules, I think they're great, but I also think that there's levels to it. Like a brand new player, I don't even care if your foot's behind your disc. You know what I mean? If your disc is behind a tree, step out a foot. You don't need to worry about that kind of stuff until they start taking advantage of that kind of stuff. I was playing at the monthly at Buzzy's, and this guy was doing like 10-foot putts falling forward on every one of them. He must have done it like 3 times, and we kept letting him redo it. And the guy shot -1. I mean, mind you, Buzzy's isn't exactly, but it's like, dude, if you're able to shoot -1 on any course, even the ace place, you shouldn't be doing 10-foot falling putts,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you kind of see that a lot when people start playing disc golf and they play like a lot of like dubs leagues where it's like super casual, and then they jump into the tournament scene, and usually they come in pretty skilled, and they've been playing for a lot of dubs, and they might be like a MA2 or MA1 or whatever type player, but you kind of got to learn the tournament part of the game too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and honestly, monthly is a great time to learn that kind of stuff, and hopefully he learned from it. So
it's a great like intermediary.
But he was a Jet fan. He might need a couple more monthlies to figure it out.
That means that he is resilient.
He's hopeless.
I'll just clarify, since it came up before too, that I looked up the legal size of a mini. According to AI, at least, between 7 and 15 centimeters is the legal diameter for a mini, and a height no more than 3 centimeters. And in inches, that's like max 5.9 inches and an inch thick.
Okay, hang on. Zen container dimensions.
I think that's good.
Height? Wait, what? 0.78
1
inches. That seems too small. All right, I guess a Zen container that people are loving to use are legal minis.
AI got it right because I actually did look it up in the technical standards.
And I think you can crush a soda can, and that counts too.
I remember when I first started doing this, I would ask rules questions, and one of them was like, can you use a bagel as a mini? And you can't because it's too high.
Wait, Jason, did it say it had to be circular? What was the dimensions part again?
Between 7 and 15 centimeters, and they must be round.
Round. Okay, so an oval is round, right? Having no corners.
Arguably.
Yeah, I mean...
Who's the guy on the Pro Tour who would use a cookie to mark his mini? Was that
Marweed?
Yeah, he would put a cookie down as his mini, and then if he made the putt, he would eat the cookie.
And it's kind of OP. It's kind of like when people say, like, every time you get a backup, drink some water. Every time you hit a big putt, have a snack.
He wants to eat the cookie, so he's going to make the putt. But, I mean, the cookie was on the ground, but, I mean, I guess that doesn't matter to him, so... All
right. Before we get to Sunstein Open, we haven't mentioned it in a while. I thought we'd take a quick look at the DisCap Tag League.
Oof. Hang on.
I pulled it up, and I do not like the interface. I'm telling you now.
Ah, fuck.
God damn it. Go to the homepage, and then scroll down and hit Classic version.
Oh, well, actually, you can do it on this page, too. Now you know what? I'm going back. I got kind of used to it. So 170 tags total, including the 999s. I'm just scrolling up from the bottom just to see. I'm at 133. I dropped 69 tags.
Nice.
I was trying to figure out where the number of rounds is, and it's under your name instead of over to the right, but I found it.
I was woken up on Thursday by simultaneous people asking me about my tags.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Evan and Brian Bickersmith both at within a minute of each other messaged me about what tag number I have. And I probably got a little snippy with Brian because it was the second person to message me about it. And I didn't care. It took me a minute to understand that they're just wanting to know that there was an error Is that correct, Evan? There was an error, and was I listed wrong in the computer?
Yes, there was an error. There was actually a few that we kind of uncovered as we peeled back the layers. A match had been put in retroactively, which is fine, except the scores were flipped, so it showed a tag swap when there was no tag swap. So Brian deleted that one. And then you mentioned it when we talked about playing Wolf that you thought you should have had a better tag than Eric because you played better than him at the qualifier, which was true. And Brandon gave you guys the wrong tags. So we flipped that because you said you were happy with the one you had.
Yeah,
So we made the website match that. So, And then I think there was also maybe a Greenville match that had like an incorrect score, and Brian found and fixed that. So everything should be good, or as good as it can reasonably hope to be.
Nice. I'll tell you, I'm pretty, we're in May. I was just looking through it. First of all, there's no easy way to sort rounds played, but there's not a ton of rounds played. Let's see. It's going to take a minute here because there's only like 4 or 5 notable ones. I see Eric Struna has 14 rounds, and that's notable.
Corey, what happened?
I told you I went +6 at Stony Kill. I got my ass kicked. I put my tag in. An idiot.
That's like a me tag.
You got to put your tag in, though.
I went from 11 to 108.
Oof.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The 8 rounds played. Yes. I didn't even think to look. Well, Tim with 23 rounds is at 96.
I had 25 until I DNF'd at the Volunteer Open, so I was up there for a little bit.
Highland Mike Warner has 14. One half of Camel Case Corey Brian Monahan with 18. Evan Parsley, 51 rounds.
Yeah.
Beakline is up there, too.
A lot of those were with Eric Struna, Tim Goyette, Brian Monahan, et cetera, et cetera.
We're playing modified 3-hole layouts all day.
No, bro. Check the scores, bro. They're all legit. All legit.
Except for Struna's at Stony Kill.
Josh Lee has 24 rounds. Brandon Klein, 35 rounds. Yeah, there was a couple I might have missed in the 10s, but there's not a ton. So that's the rounds played. I'll go through and I already mentioned my tag, so we'll start who's above me at 133. Josh Wynn, 128 with 0 rounds played, just because we haven't heard Josh Wynn's name in a while. Mike Zanchelli, 119. Jack Bradley, 118. Corey Cook, 108, only because it's worth mentioning twice.
Yeah. I feel bad for the guy I'm going to give that to. Not really. Actually, it's be really funny. Someone's be like, who put this 108 tag in here? And I'll be like, actually, it was me.
You could have given that to Kyle this weekend, Corey.
I know, that would have been hilarious. Spoilers.
Already mentioned Tim at 96. Highland Mike Warner, 85. Sparky Spalding at 80. One half of Camel Case Corey and Brian Monahan at 79. Evan Parsley, 69.
I actually went down 14
Those are not
tags at
words,
the Malta
Evan.
Memorial.
I know how to start that off. Try to
I
get
thought one of you guys were going to take it.
I was muted. I tried, but I was over nice.
Yeah.
That's taken the place of correcting Corey with the me-ands. Now we just say nice.
People gave up. They just accepted it.
Greg Kurtz at 53 with only 5 rounds played. Come on, Greg. Nassau Mike Warner, 44. Brandon Klein, 43. Tim Giardini, the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. Nick Warren, 36. Terry Hudson, 37. In a row. Travis Bashore, 31. Kat Bemis, 26. Ryan Travis, 148, 343, and 25th. Jason, 23. 8 rounds. That's a lot of rounds to be. And you moved up from 34. All right, nothing to say. Okay. Kyle Hirsch, 21 tag. Caitlin Clay at 20. Alex, 19.
Yeah, I picked that one up at the Heiser tournament, April Showers, and left before I got my tag back because I completely forgot that I put it in. So I don't currently have a tag, but when I get it back, it will be the 19 tag.
All right. Tower Power, Jason Gorsage with the 14 tag. Correspondent Joe Karen at 11. Top 10, Justin Muccelli with 11 rounds played. The most in the top 10 with the 10 tag. Jamin Hume with 6 rounds played. I'm pretty sure if you add 2023 and 2024, Jamin didn't have 6 rounds played. So nice going, Jamin.
That's possible. Very possible.
You got the 9 tag. You dropped 6 tags. You had the 3. Goodness.
Yeah. I started off the year strong. I'll get it back up there.
Heck yeah. Randy Bemis with the 8 tag. Only 2 rounds played. Harry Lehman with the 7. 1 round played. Ryan Clare with the 6 with 2 rounds played. David Koch with the 5. 4 rounds played. Chad Larson with the number 4, and he's only got 2 rounds played, but he only has 1 hand, so we can't really complain too much. Tucker Kozlowski, 3 rounds played, the 3 tag. A new guy, Joe Byerly, has the 2 tag with 1 round played, and your 1 tag with 2 rounds played, Chris Dahl, who went from the 79 tag to the 1 tag.
Back at the Blatnick Breeze.
Yeah, didn't Chris get it from Ethan?
I think it was from Ethan, yeah. I got it from Jaimen, and then I lost it to Justin, and then Justin brought it to Blatnick and lost. the Blatnick boy lost at Blatnick. Now Chris Dahl has it.
And he took it from Kyle Hirsch, it looks like. Oh, no, that's the start number. No, okay, I see.
Yeah.
I thought it was just what you had previous. Never mind. Oh, that's interesting. Did they do that before?
I think it's part of the new,
The new
the
thing?
new version is just what you started with.
I like how that's sortable, but rounds played isn't sortable.
Yeah.
Flip that. Who cares about starting?
We should send them a little feedback email.
They did some good things. They did some really bad things. And I can't remember what the one thing that I really get pissed off about the non-classic mode now is, but there's definitely something with disc golf scene that's really annoying now.
For me, it's trying to find a course when you're putting in a tag score. There's a bunch of matches this year that show as Albatross Creek just because that's the first one on the list. And, if you're trying to find a certain course or a certain tee layout, and it's like you just give up.
All right. Any other comments on the DisCap tags?
I would just point out at this point last year, I had played 30 tag matches, and that put me on pace for 75. And right now, I have 51 matches, and I am on pace for 128. And we'll see if I can keep it up.
I would argue you don't want to hit that many because that means the next year it's going to be that much harder.
Yeah. Pump the brakes a little bit.
I don't know if this is apocryphal or what, but there was a pole vaulter who would just repeatedly beat his own world record by like half an inch because he would get like a bonus from his sponsors every time he did. So like every event he played, he beat the world record by like half an inch because he was capable of going so much higher.
Nice. Andrew Chamberlain, if you're listening, we'll have to increase my sponsorship if I keep breaking this record over and over.
Exactly.
Let's go. Thank you, Alex.
People are Googling who has the highest number of DisCap tag matches played. Free advertisement.
I keep seeing videos for some guy who's he's got like a long streak going of playing like every single day. He plays barefoot whenever he can, and he posts little short videos online of like he's played every day for, I don't know, several years maybe.
Sunstein Open at 501 and mile marker. I guess it was split into two. You got the pros and the AMs. Was that the same weekend?
Yep.
In Warren, Massachusetts, tournament director Ravis Marcons Craig and assistant tournament director Connor Spillman had 115 in the pro, 142 in the AMs. How many days was this?
2 days.
Yeah, so for everybody, it's 2 days. For the pro side of it, it was 2 rounds on Saturday and then tee times on Sunday. And then for AMs, it was tee times on Sunday and tee times on Monday.
Oh, wow.
Historically, it's been just 2 rounds at 501 disc golf course. And this year, they included the new mile marker 63, the Casey White and Simon Lazat designed course on an old ball golf course. So yeah, now it was 2 days and 3 rounds.
Okay. Was there anybody of note that played AMs?
I have not looked.
Oh, no, that's fine. I just, if you don't know off the top of your head, I'm just going to close that tab.
Yeah, not that I can think of.
All right. Who wants to tell how you guys got there? Did you guys go together? Any of that kind of stuff?
Jaimen, you went first, so you could do the build up.
Okay, so I've been talking to Corey for a few weeks trying to figure it out. I was originally thinking about camping. He said he and Kyle were going to get a hotel room just for the ease of everything. So I kind of jumped in on that boat, got a hotel room. But none of us really defined our terms. So it's a Saturday, Sunday tournament. I assume hotel room means Friday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I book a hotel for Friday and Saturday and then tell Tucker Kozlowski, who I ended up getting the hotel room with. I was like, okay, I got it for Friday and Saturday. He's like, oh, I didn't even think about going out on Friday. I was like, oh, shit, not a big deal. I just get a hotel room to myself for one night. But then I tell Corey, I was like, yeah, Tucker's not even coming out on Friday. He's like, oh, I didn't even think about getting one on Friday. So I was like, oh, okay, well. It's just I immediately assumed that was everybody else's idea and went with it without talking to anybody.
So I'm assuming regular tournament, you're talking 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, right?
Yeah. I kind of want to get there at 8 to warm up. Tee times 9, 9:10.
Okay.
Yeah, and we started at mile marker 63. It's an hour and 45 to 2 hours from my house. Not the worst drive, but once Jaimen was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go out on Friday, I'm like, shit, that's the day where we don't have tee times. We have to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning. That would have been the better time to have a 20-minute drive as opposed to a 2-hour drive. Not the Sunday where we're playing one round in the afternoon, probably. So Jaimen had the better strat.
Yep. So I went out there Friday. I was planning on practicing mile marker, but I kind of got this annoying, fast-moving head cold. So I kind of poked around on Friday, drove down there slow. And by the time I got there was enough daylight to play it, but it was raining and gross. So I just didn't.
Had you played there before?
No, I've not played mile marker 63 before. I've been told by a lot of the mass guys that it's a birdie fest. So I was kind of a little bit Disappointed I didn't get a chance to practice it, but
You almost want to at least get a look at those holes.
yeah, that was my thought. Like when I look at a course, if it's wide open par fours, I don't feel like I need to have played it before.
Mhm.
Like I've got 2 shots to get to the basket. That feels like a really good odds for me. But par 3, whether it's open or wooded or whatever, it really helps to know what the line is and know how to throw it and what disc you're going to use. Guessing in the middle of a tournament can be a little bit scary sometimes. So as I was playing the course, it turned out to be very open. There were a few wooded holes here and there, but a lot of the same shots, a lot of stuff needed to move left to right, but not really in a forehand way, just kind of a turnover shot, a lot of straight mids, putter shots. So that's my entire game is turnovers and straight mids and putter shots. So I actually did really, really well. And kind of as I was playing, I realized probably playing 99% of these holes for the first time was a little bit of a benefit because there were some shots in there that I feel like if I knew what could go wrong, I would have been more tentative on them. So no, I actually had a super good round, finished at like 10 under, definitely left a few strokes out there, and I just had like a very relaxed round. I got to play with Tucker, which is always fun. It kind of felt more like a doubles round than a B tier 3-round tournament like starter. We were just having a lot of fun. And yeah, my putting was working. My drives and my upshots were working well enough, and it worked out pretty well.
Corey, you want to do your round one?
Yeah. So like I said, Kyle met me out on the thruway. We carpooled out there and arrived to mile marker. I had never played it before either, and the most I did was I found basically some drone footage on YouTube of the course, and I thought that was enough to not necessarily tell me exactly what disc and how I was going to throw a shot, but just kind of like, okay, I feel confident enough that I can step up to a tee and figure it out in that moment, like what shot to throw. There's nothing too crazy, aside from maybe a couple of holes where you might have like wanted to throw a few shots to see what works. But I basically started in the middle of the course, one of like 2 holes that has an OB pond. This one, you just had to basically clear like 340 downhill, which I wasn't really concerned with, but there was a lot of like swirling winds over the weekend to where you had to think a little bit extra about each shot, and in a lot of instances the wind was shifting, so you kind of like defaulted to throwing just more overstable as opposed to throwing understable and having it turn over too much. So I started off with a bogey there, and then from there was a lot of like shorter holes that most guys are throwing just, touchy putter shots, which I notoriously kind of struggle with. So I had a pretty boring beginning of the round. It didn't take long to kind of feel like it was a weird course for kind of like a big tournament. My starting hole was on hole 8, and right next to us is the tee pad for hole 18. And then in the meantime, guys on hole 2 were throwing at a basket that's literally you're 35 feet away from it. So before we even started, I was first in the tee box, of course. So I'm like, I'm just going to not throw until at least 18 clears out of the way because, come to find out, one of the guys on that card like blasts a tree like 10 feet ahead of them. So it felt kind of like a weird tournament course, especially to be added into 501, which is a pretty hard course in and of itself. Yeah, I feel like I missed a lot of the easy birdies, like the really musket birdies at mile marker. I clutched up on a few tough shots for birdie, but what really kind of screwed me was at the end, a couple of holes had Mandos, and hole 7 is a par 4. It's pretty soft distance-wise, and I missed the Mando, and the drop zone is the short tee, which is still like some like 380-foot flex shot, and I think I smashed my third shot with the OB, got myself to circle's edge, and then I kind of like missed the basket, put myself behind a tree with a 25-footer and missed that one. So I started with a bogey and finished with a double, which kind of hampered my weekend, given that was the course that you really needed to score on.
Because Jaimen only had 2 more birdies than you.
Yeah, I got a decent amount of birdies, and the birdies were out there. It's just a couple blow-up holes can really set you back.
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked that course was on that for that tournament because even that course made me feel big. So I can understand where that's a birdie or die for sure for you guys.
I mean, it was fun. It was a great course. If it was
blast.
like a local course, I'd play it all the time.
All the time. It's a really fun course, but like I said, it made me feel like that hole you were talking about, hole 8,
Yeah.
like 340 clear in the water. You don't worry about it, but I do. And I think I threw it like 450. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It made me feel like I was a freaking pro on that course. It was a lot of fun.
And then the other pond hole 4, I think it is. it's like 460 to get to the water. So like most people like aren't concerned with that unless you have like a long second shot that maybe you come up short on or whatever. But the ponds aren't that big anyways. You could always like land to the sides of them if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I almost call them more like water hazards than ponds, but actually I guess there's 3 ponds there, but they really aren't that much in play.
I think they use the land well because I don't have a ton of it. But to your point, like, yeah, like a lot of the tee pads and stuff are on top of each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, hi, how are you situations.
Yeah, there definitely are.
All right, so after round 1, I got Corey at -3, tied for 52nd. Justin Michelli shot a -6, tied for 34.
Yeah, Justin popped off. He was doing good.
Kyle Hirsch at -7, tied for 27th. Tucker Kozlowski at -8, tied for 19th. And Jaimen, -10, tied for 9th with 3 other guys. Anybody else of note?
Also, we had 2 local FPO players travel out, Caitlin Clay and Megan Mercier. I don't think any of these other ladies are like from Wedge area. There's Cassandra Leoy was out there. But yeah, so after round 1, Caitlin and Megan were tied for 4th, a 3-way tie for 4th at +9, and they started off at 501 playing the layout that we're about to play for round 2. Greens, odds, and blue even.
Chad was out there also.
Oh shit, I keep forgetting about Chad too.
But yeah, like somehow we never saw FPO or MPO just had like one course to itself whenever we were playing because we were such a big division.
I saw Chad one time, and it was on Sunday, and like he was on 18, and I was on the not an island hole at 501. I forget what hole it is, 8 maybe.
8, yeah.
And like he saw me hit a big putt, and I heard a clap. I look up, and it's Chad, like on a backup or whatever. I'm like, oh shit, what's up, Chad? Seen you for the first time all weekend.
All right, so round 2, we'll start with Corey because Jaimen's top 10. I want to save that. Corey, how'd that go?
Yeah, so round 2, we moved over to 501. Like I said, playing the greens odd, blue even layout. If you haven't played 501 before, it's like a classic New England course, but it is tough. Some of the holes are definitely must-gets, but there's holes out there that if you're not throwing with like 400-foot power, like uphill and hitting a 20-foot gap, some holes are just ungettable or you're going to struggle on them. So I have this knack also. I feel like every time I play 501 on a shotgun start, I'm literally always the farthest walk, which means the farthest walk out and the farthest walk back. So I started on hole 14, which is like the back left corner of the course. Once again, started off with a bogey. I kind of threw a shot that didn't turn as much as I thought it was going to. Like I said, there was a little bit of wind, like not like a crazy amount of wind, but just enough wind to make you think like, is this the right dish? Should I throw a different one? And then I had a fairly clean round. I took 2 bogeys, 4 birdies. I was putting real well. The one thing that I think I play well in quotations at 501 at is you find yourself a lot in scramble zones. And not that I'm like, could be the best coach at disc golf, but I feel like for a lot of new people, the best way to shave a lot of strokes off your game is developing good scramble methods, whether that means like, being able to hit tight little shots between saplings on something soft, or like having different attack methods, whether it's a flick or an overhand or something to just get you out of a shitty situation and maybe take a bogey instead of a double, or save a par instead of getting a bogey. It's kind of what I was doing. So I threw, I think 2 down. It was like 960 rated, which felt good after throwing kind of a shitty 930 rated round at mile marker where, I knew that was the course you had to play well at.
So if you're a new player and you're playing a practice round, maybe by yourself with a couple buddies, if you throw your first shot and hit the first available, would you suggest play that out as opposed to, re-tee and, potentially throw a better shot? You're kind of saying like, practice that shit shot.
Yeah, I personally think that although it might be more frustrating or not feel as fun or good, you learn more playing the shots you don't want to land at. Like you're not learning anything playing a practice round by like throwing 5 shots and then not looking at any of the shitty ones and only looking at the one that's inside the circle. Like you're going to practice the circle 1 putt. Like you can just practice putt for that, but like figure out where you don't want to be or figure out how to get out of where you don't want to be and just like save those shitty rounds. Like everyone's going to have a shitty day or like not be good off the tee. Every drive can't be perfect, but figuring out how to scramble could be huge. If you play woods golf, if you're not playing that much woods golf, then I feel like scrambling from off the fairway isn't that big of a deal.
All right. Was that it on your round?
Yeah, I had good cards first 2 rounds, so that was fun. All
right, so Jaimen, what were you, tied for 9th, was it?
Yep.
How'd it go in round 2?
Round 2 went pretty good. So I started on 3. I've got this thing right now where my forehand, I don't trust it enough, so I'm using backhands in spots where I should really just have a very easy chip forehand, and that was one of those spots. Hole 3 is like one of the easiest birdies on the course, and I threw a backhand turnover because I don't trust my forehand enough, and kind of had like a hard time even just taking my par on that hole. But started off a little shaky there, and then after that, there's not a lot of really easy birdies for a while. But I just kind of plugged along, stayed around like -1 or even for a while. I got a couple bogeys, but then just on the last few holes, I kind of turned it back on, and I think I birdied 3 out of the last 4 holes, maybe 4 out of the last 6 holes to finish at 4 under for the round, which kind of kept me right where I was. My putting was working, which was really nice all day, but definitely that second round, I kind of saved my own hide a few times just with making putts. But no, it felt good. I played with, man, who did I play with? I played with Kyle Moriarty, Matt Geffert, and Nate. It was a lot of fun. Nate I'd never met before, but Matt's a guy I've played with a few times, and Kyle Moriarty I've been playing with forever. So good card. Matt had a really strong beginning to his round, and then like he and I kind of swapped energies, and I finished out strong and he struggled a bit towards the end, but it was a lot of fun. I love 501. I really think it's a great woods golf course. If anybody is working on a woods golf course and wants to see how they can make their course better, go play 501 and just like take notes. It's freaking excellent.
Okay, so Corey moved up, you're 4 spots up, tied for 48th.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised at that. I remember coming off the course feeling pretty good. Like I was putting pretty well. I mean, 2 down, 972 rated. I didn't have that great of a round 1. And then to only go up 4 places, I was a little bit surprised.
It looks like Tucker had a tough second round, but he's still 7 down for the tournament, tied for 38th. Above the cash line, got Kyle Hirsch tied for 27th with Justin Michelli. And as Jaimen said, he's tied for 9th still, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So tee times, I assume that means, Corey, you've got the early morning, or earlier than Jaimen at least.
Yeah, so after the round, we kind of went back to the hotel, hung out for a little bit, decided to go out for basically pizza and a beer. At that time, hole assignments were up and tee times were posted. I think I was like 12:10. Tucker was like 2 cards after me, and then like Kyle and Justin were like 12:50 range. Myself and Kyle drove together, so that meant I would have waited for him. And then Jaimen, you were like almost 2 o'clock or something, right?
Yeah, 1:39.
At first, I was curious, like, how late were tee times going to be? If we were all in one pool and we were the only ones playing at 501 that day, then that means that, you wouldn't have the typical, like, MPO tee times of, 2 and 3 o'clock.
Looks like 203 was the last card.
Yeah, so that they didn't wait that long in the day to, push tee times out, which I was happy to not come home that late, or not have to come home that late, potentially. 501 kind of plays kind of long. I think mile marker, we were done with our tournament round, like, under 3 hours, and then, like, round 2 at 501 was, like, close to 4, and that was with, like, the modified shortish layout, I guess. So, yeah, Sunday morning, we kind of went to this overpriced hipster breakfast place.
For sure.
Got some breakfast before going over to 501. Well, actually, did you and Tucker go to that high school and throw around a little bit?
No, I went to Oakham and played like almost an entire round. That's how late my tee time was.
Oh, yeah. There's like a high school that's near 501. I think Tucker went there to warm up. Me and Kyle just went right to the park. Well, actually, okay, so in the morning we realized that tee times actually got adjusted. I went from like 12:10-ish to 11:50-ish. So yeah, I was teeing off first, get down there, checked in, warming up putting. They had a net, kind of throwing at that a little bit. And Scott, the 978 guy, or ex-978 guy, or current 978 apparel guy, whatever that whole thing is, he was announcing the tee times, and there was just 3 of us. And apparently there was, I think a guy had messaged him saying that he was running a bit late, so he didn't get there in time. We started off on hole 1, and I was kind of like joking with Kyle, like, well, what do I have to do to get into cash? How many strokes, whatever. I was kind of going through like some of the holes that I could even birdie. And I said, hole 1, I could birdie it if I throw it high enough and it turns, and maybe you make a circle 2 putt. And that's literally what I did. I got it to like, 45 feet after not really warming up that much, and just drained this like full flex bullfrog putter that I usually get laughed at for. But I drained it. And then hole 2 is, we played the same layout the day before. It's basically a must-get birdie. People are eagling it. It's probably like, 480 feet, par 4, 460 maybe. I got that birdie too, so I was starting off real good. By that time, the guy had joined us on a card, so he had only taken par +4 on his first hole. So the other guy that I played with, I played with round 2. He was cool. And then the fourth guy in our card was a classic New England player that is... he's well known and not typically in a positive way. So I think lucky for me, I'm able to kind of handle those problematic card mates pretty well. But he definitely is someone that gets into his own head and lets it out verbally. So it was kind of a bit of a struggle of a round. I was trying to keep my composure. I had a lot of bad throws that, as I was just saying, I was just literally scrambling my ass off. I hit some huge putts to save par. I mean, I think I had like 3 or 4 putts outside of 45 feet. It was just like things were clicking. I wasn't making many birdie putt chances, but whenever I had a par putt, they were just going in. I took 1 bogey on hole 4, which is almost unbirdieable, unless like that was one of the holes I was referring to where like you need to have 400 foot of uphill power. So after that bogey, I took 2 other birdies in the round and finished 3 down, which ended up being like the 5th hottest score, I think. 7 down was the hottest score of the round. 6 down was second, and then there was a couple of 5s, a 4, and then the 3s. So I basically kept it together and had a couple of big putts that got me to like I think my first 1,000 rated round of the year. Meanwhile, every round I was like applying super glue. So it actually, I think without that I wouldn't have been able to survive a 3-round tournament on my finger. But and that also was able to sneak me into basically last cash. So I think at the end of that round, I was in initially like 21st place and I think top 30 paid. And then as the later cards came in, there was a couple more mix-ups. And my round 3 was just good enough to get me into the cash, which made me feel a little bit worse about my round 1 where I didn't play as well. But I just kept telling myself that me playing not as optimally round 1 allowed me to play, what's the opposite of suboptimally?
Optimally.
More optimally round 3.
So you had a 7-way tie for last cash. It tied for 25th with Justin Muccelli.
Yep. Tucker finished up behind me. So hole 18 is a good spot to sit there and watch shots come down. If you're not familiar with 501, it's basically a big downhill, grassy field type shot that it's like 480 downhill. Harry Chase goes long, typically off the drive. So it's kind of a fun spot to hang out. And they had like supplied snacks and alcoholic beverages and stuff to hang out with afterwards. So I finished and then Tucker came in behind me, I believe.
Well, he tied for 22nd.
Yep, he did one better than me.
But yeah, you got him by a stroke in the round.
Yep, I got Tucker by 1 stroke. And I think behind him was Justin. He shot 1 over on that round, which is still a pretty good score. And actually, he did go up 2 places that 3rd round. Kyle struggled a bit that 3rd round. Had a fair amount of birdies, but a couple blow-up holes kind of knocked him out of the cash line.
But only 2 strokes.
And then Jaimen came down. But by then, I think most of us had already left.
Oh, you guys are long gone. I would have been too. I don't blame you at all.
So how about your round, Jaimen?
So my round was kind of the opposite of the day before. I started off really well. Hole 1, it always feels for me like it's a little too far for me to birdie that one. And I put it like 10 feet long on my drive. It was a little jittery throwing with everybody being announced. Like 3rd card that far into the tournament feels a little bit more pressure. But I just kind of like smashed my drive on that one and landed like 10 feet long of it. Had a super simple drop in. Very simple hole 2. I tried a little bit too much on the drive, but kind of just kicked to the middle and put my upshot to like 5 feet away. And then hole 3, I was feeling really good. I almost made like a 35-foot putt for birdie, which is one I struggled on the day before. And then hole 4, I put it to like maybe like 50, 60 feet away, which is absolutely as far as I can go on that hole. I was just feeling good. Everything was kind of working out well. One annoying thing about that tournament is both rounds I bogeyed hole 8. Hole 8 is like this stupid, simple downhill shot. The tee pad's kind of in a weird spot for where the fairway is, but it doesn't matter. It's like just a very simple standstill putter shot that I should be nailing 100 times out of 100. And both days I just screwed up my drive, kind of put my approach shot a little bit too far away and missed my putt. So that was like my first blemish on the day. But then, just kind of stuck around, scrapped, made some putts here and there, kept moving, and then got to hole 12 and like just kind of had a bad hole. I threw a good drive that almost kicked out of bounds. Hole 12 is like this kind of fairly short but uphill, tight, wooded par 4 that's got OB the entire left side in a rock wall. So I threw my drive trying to just get it over to the right side so it's safe. It almost kicked out of bounds, stayed in bounds. But like my second shot was just in kind of no man's land. So I tried to just throw a really safe approach shot just to get a little bit more distance, make my life easier to take a par on it. So I was trying to concede the par, and then my simple upshot into the middle, that one did kick out of bounds. So I screwed up my approach shot after that, put it into like one of those spots where you're just like, well, it's like actually impossible to get in the basket from here. It was just behind too many trees. And so I took a double bogey on that one. That kind of broke my focus for the first time in the tournament. I took a double bogey on that, bogeyed the next hole from just like missing a really simple approach shot, and then bogeyed the hole after that. Again, just like, not getting close enough. And so at that point, I was just like, I was 2 under for a while on the hardest layout of the tournament, feeling really good, moving up a few spots. And then like within 3 holes, I'm 2 over all of a sudden going, what the fuck? So super frustrating. Managed to kind of get back on track and just par out, and then made a decent putt on 18 to get 1 birdie back. And I think I finished at 1 over for the round. So a little bit disappointing of a finish, but I can like feel my game getting back to a spot where I'm pretty happy with it. And that's still missing a few pieces, like a reliable forehand. So I'm really happy with my results overall. I had another fun card. A couple guys I hadn't played with before, Gabe and Isaac, were a lot of fun to play with. But yeah, it was a great tournament overall. I'm excited where everything's kind of pointing right now, especially going into Minekill, but definitely left some stuff out there that left me kind of like licking my wounds.
So tied for 13th, not too shabby. And you guys didn't even mention both of you guys beat Simon Lizotte.
Oh yeah, he just randomly dropped. I never really got the story on that one.
I was going to mention that. There's a couple other names that I was pretty proud to beat, but
I'll do it for you. Are you happy you beat Nick Carl?
I mean, that was a name, but I know he doesn't really play that much anymore.
I know, but
there's a couple other guys that I've played a lot of tournaments with, or I've played against in tournaments when really I wasn't really playing against them because they're just so high skill. But
it sounds like you're talking about Kyle Hirsch.
Like you got like your David Flax and stuff. Like there's like some really good throwers that just got eaten up by 501. So some courses pars are good. So, and there's even instances where like I know that I can't birdie this hole. Why am I even trying to go max effort? Like people are going to bogey this. People are going to double bogey this. Just like hit the gap, get your 3. You can't throw 400 feet uphill on a turning shot. Like don't try. Play your game.
Yeah. Try not to get into competing on that particular shot because everybody's got different shots, I guess.
That is definitely a course that it's easy to get caught up in what everybody else is doing, because like with hills, just in general, you need to throw what works for you, not what everybody else is doing. Some people just have a lot of spin on their mid-ranges, so they're smashing mid-ranges into hillsides at 350 feet where you might need more glide to get there, blah, blah, blah. But it is a very easy course to screw up simply because you're paying too much attention to what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on the Sunstein Open?
Yeah, so also shout out Chad Larson came in 4th, a couple strokes behind, a 2-way tie for 2nd, and an FPO, Caitlin, ended up coming in 3rd. So for MPO, we played the full blue layout for round 3. FPO played May the 4s be with blue, which I think it's every hole that has a par 4. So a 501 has 1 tee pad per hole and 2 baskets. And the blue layout on a specific hole is not necessarily harder than the green layout. There's certain holes where the blue basket's like 100 feet, 150 feet past, but it's a par 4 instead of a par 3. So it's a little bit easier. But yeah, Caitlin came in 3rd in the cash line, and Megan Mercier had a pretty good event playing above her rating and just missing the cash line in FPO. And I don't know how much she's actually played 501 before, but
all 3 rounds over her rating.
Yeah, so pretty good show out for the DisCap people that came up for this.
And they both, had they played MPO, would have beat Simon Lizotte as well.
Yeah.
So there's that. Sorry, I was getting my picks in for Northwest Disc Golf Championship. Because we've got 2, Northwest and Minekill. Jason, just out of curiosity, who's won the last few Minekills?
In MPO?
Yeah.
Last year it was Zach Tassone.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Cochran was way up there.
Yeah, Paul Cran's won one. Andrew Fish. Dylan Reese has won a few. He's an MP40 now.
Oh, that don't help.
Dan Brookswells has won. He dropped out of the tournament though, so he's not a candidate.
Yeah, I see that now. He was one of my picks.
How did Jaimen throw over there?
Pretty good.
Who's won the last FPO?
Carly Sharon won last year, and Kate Clay won the year before.
That's a big FPO division. What's up with that?
Yeah, it's solid.
If you hold 16 FPO slots, a lot of times they'll fill up.
So that's this weekend, Jason?
Yep, mine kills this weekend. Preparations have already started. On Saturday, we had a volunteer work day. Appreciate everybody that came out. Alex came out, Kat Bemis, Marcia, able to cut in a new pin position for hole 4. So excited to see how that plays this year. Also worked with the park and had 3 trees dropped on hole 12, which was a pretty big dead pine, kind of towards the middle of the fairway. So I think with that gone and a couple other big ash trees, like the second leg of hole 12 is much more open.
Was that big ash trees or ash trees?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Ash.
Okay.
Glad that wasn't just me.
The big dead pine that you dropped, was it the white pine or the red pine?
The one farther down, it had,
Okay, it was just a big straight one?
yeah.
Okay, that's the red pine.
Yeah, it was very dead.
Yeah.
It's the one, at the corner that would make much more impact on the hole, but that one's pretty
Enormous?
massive. Yeah.
That's the white pine, yeah.
That's not coming down anytime soon. But yeah, I think the hole's a little bit more fair now, which is good. And then Sunday, Dan Agner thought the workday was Sunday, so he went out there and went to town weed whacking holes 12 and 13, which is really appreciated by Jess and me because we usually have to do that and it sucks. But yeah, Park's been kind of keeping up with it too, so it wasn't too bad this year. And I think knocking down a lot of brush in previous years has helped too.
Don't you mean you usually have to have your kids do it and you sit there drinking pina coladas?
Yeah, they're like, they can fight back now. So it's harder.
This is the benefit of having kids weed whack, is that the spinning blade is too far away from them for them to get hurt with it. Smart.
Yeah, safety first. That's right. So today, Jess and I went out with the kids there and did some more work. We did some pole sawing, some trimmed some branches on 14, 15, 16, and 17. So those are a little bit more clean. And then I put in some stakes on the new green on hole 4. So anybody that wants to play test it can kind of see where the OB line is now there.
You were talking about making that change. How do you like it? I mean, so far, I know it's very early, but
I mean, so far I like it. I'm very curious to see different skill levels attack it. I think it makes it much more difficult for FPO, which it's just something that kind of have to accept to make it work for the MPO. But the goal in this design change, there's a few different goals. The main one is the old pin location. You could birdie the hole 2 ways. You could throw over the pond, have an easy upshot and birdie it, or you could lay up off the tee and then still reach the pin and birdie it that way. There wasn't a lot of reward for going over the pond. Now, with the pin push more to the left, if you don't go over the pond, you still have the option of like kind of going for the birdie shot with the layup, but you have to basically carry out of bounds the entire way now. Which if you don't make it, then you either have to go to the drop zone or take stroke and distance and go pretty far back. So there's much more risk to that layup shot birdie approach, which I think is a pretty good change to the hole.
I haven't seen where the basket is. Like, how far left of the original basket is it?
Maybe like 80, 100 feet.
Oh, shit, that much? And is that like the main way to describe it? Is it's like left of the original basket by 80 feet, not like left and further or left and shorter?
Nope, same distance left, and it is very visible from both tees.
So do you think many people will try to lay up and then go over the OB? I'm assuming on like some either giant forehand or big turnover shot.
I think some definitely will. Some scenarios I also see happening. A player trying to go over the pond, going OB, and then really wanting to save par, going from the green tee to try to carry over it to save par. And then either possibly saving par or taking double bogey if they don't clear it.
Oh, I didn't really think about that part.
And it's not like a crazy massive forehand or turnover shot. Like, you got to go straight at it for, 350-ish of power, but it's not an insane distance.
But yeah, what's the distance from the green tee to the new basket?
It's like 350, but it is uphill. I've been playing it a lot. I played a bunch today. I think to get to the pin, you kind of plays close to 400.
Before the layup used to be, there's like that one bush near the green tee pad. You kind of want to be more right of that to give you a better angle to the original basket. But now does it seem like maybe you'd want to be more left of that bush to have a wider angle if you were trying to play that line?
Yeah, if you're trying to play that line, you want to land between the green tee and that bush. And really, the fairway to get to that, if you're going over the OB, it's a pretty straight look. So you can shape all different shots. There are guardian trees on the left and the right. So you can't really flex a huge hyzer or forehand or anhyzer. You got to kind of flex something between the trees, but it's pretty wide. I'd say, I'm guessing 50, 60 feet wide. So, you have some room to work a disc.
And the people that aren't throwing 400 feet, like whether to either clear the pond or hit that shot from green tee pad to the new basket, I mean, their best shot now is to like the classic layup and then get somewhere between the green basket and the original orange basket. And then from there, approach the basket and take basically a par.
Yeah, I think a par could gain strokes on people.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's multiple ways to birdie it, but par is not a bad play. But you have to basically commit to playing for par. And I'll say to clear the OB, if you're going to go the new lane, it's probably only like maybe 350-ish, distance wise to clear it, considering the uphill. So I think it's reachable for most the MPO field. It's just that you don't want to mess up because then you're going to get really punished for it with the drop zone or the stroking distance. So yeah, I wish we could have like put it in the fall, maybe like done some stuff with Team Challenge, but it's in a tough spot. It's a pretty wet spot. So we've been working with the park, hoping to get some wood chips there, dress it up. It's going to take some time to get fully like broken in as an alternate green, but it's been on the back of my mind for a few years. It was something that I think Brinster, somebody mentioned to me when they were playing the course for the first time, and been kind of putting it off. And then this year I committed to doing it. And I think it's going to make the whole scoring distribution better for the event, but time will tell.
Alex, I see you're playing both Pro and Am. Is it the same layout both weekends for you?
I believe that round one of the Am side plays from the green tees as opposed to the orange tees, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But other than that, I think everything's the same.
So Alex, what's your plan on that hole for orange and green?
I'm going to try and throw over the pond on my first shot from orange tee. That's the current plan, at least. But, on the day, maybe it's windy. Maybe I'm not confident in distance, so we'll see how that goes. But that's been my classic play, is just try and huck it and try and get over the pond in one, and I think I'm going to stick with that.
What about Am side when you're playing the green tee?
That one, I might just go, overstable distance driver right over the green tee and see where that gets me. But again, that's going to be a tough one, because when I step up there and like I can see the basket, it's going to be a tough decision not to just go for it, especially since I made it in a couple of times when we were testing it. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting choice for sure.
Yeah, curious to see how it gets played. I think if I was like a top rated pro and I had the arm, I would definitely just go over the pond without a doubt, but that makes it an easy decision.
Oh, yeah. If I was one of these guys that could actually win the tournament, going over the pond is a no-brainer. If I'm a guy that's maybe just trying to make cash, I don't know. I haven't played it since, actually, J Park didn't even play Minekill this year, so I think probably the last time I played Minekill was like Joshua Pro League, or I don't know what it would have been. I don't know if I have a better chance at clearing that pond this year than I have in previous years, but maybe I'm hoping that maybe I get there on Friday and I learn something about myself.
Those guardian trees aren't getting any shorter. I'll say that. I played it today, I cleared it, but man, it's a huck. So other than that, excited for the tournament. We're going to have final rounds filmed by Heiser Media, both the MPO and the FPO this year. Happy to see such a solid FPO field coming out. So I'm hoping to capture that final round on video.
So 14 in the FPO. Heck yeah.
Yep. Other than that, it's been a lot of movement on the wait list this year. There's still a solid wait list, but we've had 19 drops so far, which got Andrew Fish in, got some other pretty good players in.
No Brinster this year?
He's MP40.
Oh.
Pretty sick MP40 field too. So yeah, I think, you got Cutler, Reese.
Old man Harry Lehman.
Harry, I mean, this is going to be pretty solid.
The Tower Power, come on now.
Yes, lots of people I'd love to play with on the MP40 card.
And Brian Bickersmith.
Yeah, and that guy too. Yeah, so if you're listening to this and you're not playing and you want to come out and watch or volunteer, I'd encourage you to do so. Anybody that wants to volunteer, we've got shirts, we've got lunch. We're going to have some activities Saturday night at Rockland, some games, putting contests, fastest drive, stuff like that.
What about the food truck? What are we talking here?
So the food truck they originally had canceled on them. So I talked to them yesterday and they have another food truck coming, but they haven't used them before. So they couldn't really give me much details.
So, okay, I will pack a backup 1 pound steak just in case.
I told them, I was like, you need to tell like the food trucks that, we may have 40 people there, but they eat like 80 people. Like just like hike 2 mountains, I don't know how many miles miles, like 5 or 10 miles, and they're craving carbs. So yeah, make sure you have enough food. But yeah, that should be a fun time. Be live music. If you haven't been there, Rockland has a new tap room. So they built a brand new building, like where the parking lot used to be.
Oh, wow.
So there's new like lawn, new area for the bands. When I went there yesterday, they had a band rocking pretty hard inside. Pretty cool setup. So I think that'll be fun. And like we had last year, when the final card went through, hole 18 had a little bit of a gallery forming. I think I'm going to push the OB off the parking lot a little bit so that people aren't in the fairway. And looking forward to seeing like a gallery there and, awarding the 10th annual MKDGC champ.
Evan and Tim, any thoughts of playing MP40? I know it's probably full and all that, but was that ever even a consideration?
No, not for me, to be honest.
Is there something going on this weekend?
I feel like I have something non-disc golf, but I have to double check. But I don't think I'm signed up for anything else until Amside.
Okay. What about you, Tim?
Never even crossed my mind.
I mean, you got back issues anyway, so...
Yeah, I fit right in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. And then back-to-back weekends usually doesn't do well with my wife and my kids, so...
All right.
Have you thought about getting new ones, potentially?
Corey, every day. Every day. Not so much the wife, but the kid. Yes.
Nice save. I do see Bobby Jones. Has he been to like every one of these, Jason?
He's a big Mindkill fan. Yeah, he may have missed like the first one, but he's been coming back every year. Yeah, a lot of people returning, which is great to see, and some new people too. It's cool. Anybody have any thoughts on who's going to win?
I would say Wyatt Mahoney.
Yeah, I was going to say if Wyatt's playing, it's probably not a bad guess.
Pretty solid pick.
Can Jaimen figure out his forehand in 6 days?
No.
Okay.
That's
not. Okay.
He went in with his backhand. It's fine.
I'm going Andrew Fish. He won before, right?
He did. This is, I will say, definitely the most competitive field we've had in both MPO and FPO.
1018, 1014, 1014, and a couple 1009s and 1004. Yeah.
And all those 990 guys and even some of the 980 guys, I would not be surprised if, they're in podium. I mean, last year, Zach Tasono. So a lot of like pretty heavy hitters and under 1,000 too.
It's similar to what they just played, the Sunstein Open, right? 2 rounds on Saturday and then a round on Sunday.
Yep.
And I'm kicking myself. We should have done picks, but I didn't think about it. I'm slow.
That's all right.
I was going to say, I took this entire week off. So if you need me to stick around for trivia, I'll still be pretty tired, but I'm not available.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll just try to sleep in if I can.
Yeah,
probably not.
That works out. Well, did anybody have anything else that they wanted to talk about?
Justin Muccelli's Pro League is going to be going to Mindkill this past Wednesday before the tournament, so it'll be interesting to see who shows up and how it compares to the event. Also hoping that the rain in the forecast does not come, and I would prefer to not sleep in a tent in the rain.
Speaking of Pro League, it looks like you guys played at Prospect Park last week. Had a 2-hole playoff between Corey, the Tower of Power, and Justin. How'd that go?
Oh, well, Justin won his own league, so it sucked. Don't really want to talk about too much, but second from the last hole, I hit a big putt. I was not playing good at all. Brian Monahan was on my card. I played with Evan Parsley as well. And he was like, oh, that was a big putt. And I'm like, no way. I look it up, and Justin and Gorsage were already in at 5 down. So my last hole was the Troy sign hole, hole 7, and literally had a Gannon Burr moment where I get to the tee pad and there's a deer at the freaking green. So I start going up there.
I think there were like 3, weren't there?
Well, eventually, yeah, I get over that first mound and there was like 4 deer had popped up. So I had to run up there shaking my arms. I was not about to get a rollaway off the back of some deer to knock me out of this playoff potentially. But yeah, so I missed my putt for birdie and had to go to playoff. And we all birdied hole 1, and then Justin parked hole 2, and me and Gorsage did not. So Justin won his Prospect Park League round. And I think it was the biggest turnout so far for the league.
Yeah, it looks like 13 with Caitlin Clay taking FPO.
Yeah, Caitlin was on our card as well.
Ah, yes.
I'm glad I went because it was a good bounce back after my Pro League at J Park, which was not great, but I shot a 909, so that was nice.
Nice. While we're mentioning stuff, Jackson Quinn and John J.P. Hafner won Wilcox Tuesday dubs at a -12. Okay, so disc or no disc. Jason, since you are our special guest for disc or no disc, are we playing 2 teams of 3 or 3 teams of 2? Doesn't matter. We're still playing 2 categories.
I don't care as long as Evan's on my team.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, that was my next thing was you picked the team. So you want Evan? Do you want anybody else? What do you want to do?
I'll let somebody else pick if we want to do 2 or 3.
Evan, you pick.
Clearly.
Yeah, Evan, since you're his number 1 draft pick, do you want 2 3s or 3 2s?
I will say 2 3s just because it was really fun last week.
So who's your third? You and Jason can confer.
Your choice, Jason. I've played with all these guys.
I'd take any of them. Alex showed up for the workday, so let's just get Alex over here.
Jason's padding his team. All right.
Both playing favorites.
Hey,
That's course karma.
exactly. All right. Tim, Corey, and Jaimen will go first. And you guys know the rules, disc or no disc. I've got 2 categories. Well, I've got 3 categories. Tim, Corey, and Jaimen, you'll pick category 1, category 2, or category 3. Answer the question. If you get it right, you can tell me for a bonus point whether or not it is a disc. If you get it wrong, the other team gets a chance to steal. Tim, Corey, and Evan, what category would you like?
Tim, you pick.
Oh, Corey, I was going to give it to you. It's too lazy.
You gotta be quicker than that.
All right. I'm going to go with... I'll go with 1.
All right. Question 1, category 1. According to Thomas Fuller, as evidence of skill, a good archer is not known by his arrows, but what? According to Thomas Fuller, as evidence of skill, a good archer is not known by his arrows, but what?
I always thought it's the archer, not the arrow, but it wouldn't be. That would not be the answer.
Would that be his bow?
I thought that's the obvious answer, but
It's question 1.
Tim, you don't know this quote?
I do, but I'm trying to think. There's 2 things that popped in my head. One was bow and one was aim.
Fuck.
If we're talking about skill, I think it's aim.
I do like aim.
Sounds good. There's probably a disc company that uses chat
Oh,
platforms from the
Oh, aim.
2000s.
I didn't consider
you've
that
got
first.
mail.
Pat, could you give us the question one more time?
According to Thomas Fuller, as evidence of skill, a good archer is not known by his arrows, but what?
As evidence of his skill, I would say aim.
I like it. That does make more sense.
Yeah, I guess
Those are the only
aim.
2 things that popped in my head.
You guys agree?
Yep.
Is the aim a disc?
I mean, it makes sense
does
for a
make
disc.
sense.
Like, yeah, right?
I hate it though.
I do too. It's a terrible name, but it fits the like category. I mean, not the category, it fits disc.
Okay, you know what else fits is the hyzer. Do you think there's a hyzer disc?
I think so, yeah. There probably is.
Because it makes sense, but do you think it makes too much sense? Like, I'm almost kind of leaning no. What does Jaimen feel like?
I think the aim is a disc. I think it's a really old school one.
Oh, I instantly changed my mind. That was a
Yep,
stronger
he was
reaction
so
than I
confident. Yeah, yep.
thought. Yes, Pat.
You guys agree?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no.
Sorry. It seemed like I could have like almost guaranteed that I've seen that before, but
All right. Jason, Evan, and Alex, category 1, category 2, or category 3?
Oh, preference.
Let's do 3.
Sure.
All right. Question 1, category 3. What is the chemical formula for molecular hydrogen? What is the chemical formula for molecular hydrogen?
I think
Is it
it's
just H?
the letter H.
So, like, hydrogen is normally in gas form, which is H2, but if it's just hydrogen, the molecule, it would be H.
Yeah, I think he said molecular.
Yeah, molecular hydrogen. Makes sense to me.
We think it's the letter H, Pat.
Tim, Corey, and Jaimen, what is the
What?
chemical formula for molecular hydrogen?
I think it's H2.
H2.
Yeah.
Which is
Got
definitely a
little
disc
taste of his
because
own
it's
medicine.
Yeah, that's got to be a disc because of Prodigy.
Yeah, it's a Prodigy H2.
Yeah.
You guys agree?
yes,
Is the H2 a disc?
Yes.
yes.
Prodigy disc, September 26, 2014. I just had to double check because I didn't think all 3 of them would. I mean, now I'm not even sure if that's the right answer, but I think it is.
We'll see if it ends up being relevant.
All right, that was a steal. Tim, Corey, and Jaimen, category 1 or category 3?
Okay, so that answered my question of what category that was, since I stepped away for a White Claw.
Okay, you were up 3-0. Now you're up 2-0 drinking White Claw.
They're leftovers. That's what I had.
Wait till you find out its full name.
No. This one's actually a White Claw from before that, but I did mistakenly buy White Claw Surges while we were out in Massachusetts. Because guess what? You can't just walk into a gas station and buy freaking beer anywhere. You gotta, like, hit 3 different stores. Anyways, yeah, those 8% ones taste like dog shit. So we're going with 1 or 3.
I'm fine with either of them right now.
Yeah, my dog's barking, so I was muted. Sorry, whatever you want.
Yeah, it
Corey,
sounded
you're
like the
in
dog
charge.
was saying 3, Pat. So we'll take 3.
Okay. I like
3?
that.
All right, question 2, category 3. Based in Seoul, what is South Korea's second largest auto manufacturer? Its name means rising from Asia. Based in Seoul, what is South Korea's second largest auto manufacturer? Its name means rising from Asia.
It's got to either be Kia or Hyundai, I would assume.
They're the same thing.
They're both South Korean.
Yeah. Are they both in Seoul?
Probably. I don't really know
I feel
Korea
like
that well.
Kia is in Seoul, but I don't know if Hyundai's not.
Well, one of them is South Korea's second largest, so I assume there's a first largest.
Yeah, that makes me like Kia even more. And Kia has a soul.
Well, you think Kia is behind Hyundai?
Absolutely.
Nowadays, maybe not, but definitely up until like maybe the last
Okay,
3
yeah.
years, 4 years.
I'm with you. 'Cause
right?
I've been in the same boat.
I'm in the same boat that probably the last few years they've gotten a lot bigger, but I think overall for the history of the two brands, Hyundai's always been more.
Recently, I've seen more Kias, but historically,
Yeah,
I've
I agree
seen
with
more
you.
Hyundais.
I agree with that.
Yeah, okay, so we're saying Hyundai?
Wait, I thought we were saying.
I mean, we're saying Kia. Sorry.
I thought we were. Yeah, I thought we were.
Little switcheroo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
You guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is the Kia a disc?
I don't like it.
Are we able to get a repeat of the question and the no disc or no disc?
It doesn't have to be spelled the same way, does it?
No.
I think Kia is a New Zealand disc, whatever that freaking company is, RPM.
I'm sure it's not Kia.
KEA.
Okay.
I was also about this certain about AIM, so take that for what it's worth.
I mean, what's a Japanese? It sounds like a Japanese phrase. Wait, you say Japanese phrase?
Rising from Asia. Oh, no.
No.
Right. No. Rising from. Wait, yeah. I don't remember what it was.
I said New Zealand, Corey.
But the question.
Oh, the
said
question, yeah, the
rising
question.
From, yeah.
Kyle's gonna love this part. Yeah, so we're saying yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is a disc.
Yeah.
You guys agree?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Jamin?
Yes, absolutely, Pat.
All right, we got KEA, RPM discs, disc golf, something I can't pronounce, Aoteria, February 26, 2018. All right, that was your regular question, right? So Jason, Evan, and Alex, you're down 5-0, category 1 or category 3?
What was that? The Kia one? Was that category 3?
3.
Your choice, Jason. I doubted you and won't do it again.
Should have thought about that other one more longer, but
Yeah, it felt like a rushed putt.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. If I thought about it longer, I would have.
So, okay, right now the record is down 7-0 and coming back to win. So you're only down 5-0. Easy peasy.
I usually feel good about 5-0, but not
yeah, it's like the Knicks this year.
Yeah, right.
20 points, that ain't nothing.
All right. I'm kind of curious how this. Let's go to category 1.
Category 1?
Sure.
All right, question 2, category 1. Goalies have achieved what only 20 times in NHL history? Goalies have achieved what only 20 times in NHL history?
I have a guess off the top of my head.
Is it a goal?
That's what I was thinking.
Because, like, what are things that goalies can do? Like, saves, obviously, you're going to do a ton of those.
Yeah.
Shutouts happen all the time.
All the time.
Maybe it's a fight.
There's probably been more than that, to be honest.
If goalies...
They don't always get in, but when they do, it's gnarly.
Yeah, they don't tend to fight, but yeah, I think goals are more...
Unless it's some sort of, like,
rarity.
playoff achievement. Goal feels good.
I think once we start getting into like super specific like playoff shutouts or something like that, I don't think that's a disc. So
Right, getting off track. Pretty sure Marty Brodeur for the Devils had at least a few of those. So I think that's a good guess, unless I'm open to to
I
hear
like
if Jason
it.
has anything. Yeah.
Kind of goes with aim too. So
Yes,
Yeah.
very much. All right, so we think it's goal.
yeah,
Do you guys agree?
Yep.
Is the goal a disc?
maybe.
Solid, maybe.
yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean you're just gonna throw away all your goals.
What's the goal of this disc?
Yeah, that's true. I don't love it anymore. I never did, but yeah, I'm with you.
I'm definitely open to if people have a good argument for it being a disc, but my instinct is no.
Yeah, if somebody feels strong, I don't care that much, but my gut is just I don't like it.
Yeah, all right, we're all no's.
You guys agree?
Sounds like a plan. Yep.
You are correct.
All right.
Nice.
All right,
On the
5-2.
board.
Yep, on the board. Tim, Corey, and Jamin, category 1 or category 3?
I like 3.
You like 3? All right. I was gonna say I kind of like 1. So Jamin.
I mean, do we? I'm assuming everyone knows category 3 so far.
I like 3 so far.
All right, let's go 3.
All right, question 3, category 3. What popular SUV model, first introduced by Ford in 1990, shares a name with the first successful orbital mission launched by the United States in 1958? What popular SUV model, first introduced by Ford in 1990, shares a name with the first successful orbital mission launched by the U.S. in 1958?
Explorer.
That's got to be Explorer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chad Larson
You guys agree?
mobile.
Yep.
Is the Explorer a disc?
All
The
right.
Anthony Bohanski Fairway Mobile.
Oh, the Disc Golf Valley shot disc. Wait, that's Disc Golf Valley. That's the name of the game, right? Why
Yeah.
does it sound weird right now?
Because you haven't played it since COVID.
Yeah, it is a disc.
Latitude 64, December 11th, 2017. And apparently, if you throw it a lot, you come in second, like Anthony Bohanski does.
But he's averaging above his rating every time.
Oh, and he's much, much, much better than me. Speaking of, Felix Garcia and Steve Schultz shot a -8 at Colonial Acres doubles on Monday. All right. That gives you guys 7.
I believe so. Last time it was 5. Makes sense.
7-2. Yep. All right. Jason, Evan, and Alex, category 1 or category 3?
I think I like 1 a little better.
Yeah, let's go 1.
Happy with that.
All right. Question 3, category 1. What do we call any of the faculties by which the body perceives an external stimulus, such as sight, smell, or touch? What do we call any of the faculties by which the body perceives an external stimulus, such as sight, smell, or touch?
Sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be sense, right?
That's what I thought.
You guys agree?
Yeah.
Is the sense a disc?
The sensei or sensei is.
Yeah, sensei is a disc.
I like it. I haven't seen one, but
I think it easily could be.
yeah, I like it.
I'm 50-50. If you guys like it, I say we go for it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
You guys agree?
Going with yes.
Independent Discs Sweden, AB, April 28th, 2025.
Nice.
What's Bohanski doing about that one?
All right. 7-4. Halfway through. Tim, Corey, and Jaimen. Category 1 or Category 3?
Stick with 3, Corey.
That's my vote.
Okay, I'm good with it.
All right. Question 4, Category 3. What British two-seater sports car produced by Triumph from 1962 to 1980 shared its name with a famous World War II fighter plane or a fierce-tempered woman? What British two-seater sports car produced by Triumph from 1962 to 1980 shared its name with a famous World War II fighter plane or a fierce-tempered woman?
Damn. A Triumph.
This is a total shot in the dark, but I'm going to say Baroness.
Okay, I was thinking originally Red Baron, plane,
Yeah.
a fierce-tempered woman. But if it is like something like Baron, I feel like I'd like Triumph Baron better than Triumph Baroness. But that wouldn't.
Yeah, the only reason I said Baroness is because you said fierce-tempered woman.
No, I was thinking the same thing initially.
So there's 2 planes I'm thinking of that I think fit more. One's a Hellcat and one's a Spitfire.
Both of those
Spitfire.
seem highly offensive.
I like Spitfire. Like, she's a real Spitfire.
I think those are the 2
Triumph
planes that
Spitfire. No, that does. What was the other one you said?
Hellcat. That I think isn't that's like a Plymouth or
It's a
something like
Dodge,
that, right? Dodge, yeah.
No, I do like Spitfire.
Those were the planes I was trying to run through in my head. Those are the
Triumph
2 that
Spitfire.
sound.
That does kind of ring some bells. I say Spitfire. I like Spitfire.
All right.
Jaimen, you guys agree?
Yeah, I like it.
Is the Spitfire a disc?
Nice. That word is way.
I thought I had a steal on that one.
Yeah, I knew that one too.
From which angle?
I knew both. I didn't know the car, but I knew a plane was called the Spitfire, and that's also a name for, hot-tempered woman.
They just think we're dumb, Corey.
Sounds like they only knew 2 out of the 3 angles, though. So yeah, Spitfire. I mean that word is too badass to not be a disc.
Right, it's gotta be
That word is-
Yep, I like it.
Yeah.
You guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Lightning Discs, January 1st, 1990.
Oh, that's right. They had airplane discs at some
Give
point.
me a Halo Spitfire.
That would be pretty sick.
You get a Halo Starfire. The best I can do.
Oh yeah. Pass.
Also, those don't exist either.
Jason, Evan, and Alex, Category 1 or Category 3?
Going 1?
Yeah.
All right, question 4, Category 1. What is the term for the underlying reason or psychological impulse that causes a person to act in a certain way, especially in a crime? What is the term for the underlying reason or psychological impulse that causes a person to act in a certain way, especially in a crime?
Like a motive?
Motive was what was coming to mind for me as well.
Yeah. Did he say impulse in the question?
I think you did.
Yeah. Motive is what I thought. I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
You guys agree?
Yeah.
Go motive.
Is the motive a disc?
That's very dynamic discs coded.
This it kind of feels like a DD disc, but
I don't know of one specifically, but it feels like it's right on that sort of theming.
I agree.
yeah, I've never heard of it, but man, it really fits in their lineup. What do you guys
I say
think?
yes.
Go for it?
Yeah.
All right, let's go for it.
Dynamic Discs, May 12th, 2025.
Oh, really
Ooh,
recent.
damn, okay.
A couple weeks ago.
All right. So 9-6.
I like to think of it as 6 to 9.
Nice.
Nice. Tim, Corey, and Jaimen, what category? 1 or 3?
I still like 3.
Yeah, I think 3 is working pretty well.
All right. Question 5, category 3. What minivan model was produced by Ford from 1995 to 2003, succeeding the Aerostar and preceding the Freestar? What minivan model was produced by Ford from 1995 to 2003, succeeding the Aerostar and preceding the Freestar?
Windstar.
That sounds right, yeah.
Nice.
I was going to say Transit, but that's a
Yeah, no, that's is that a minivan?
It's more of like a worker's van than a
Yeah.
minivan.
It's a van.
That's like a 10 family.
That's more of like a
Conversion
contractor's
van,
van.
yeah.
Yeah, so Windstar?
You guys agree?
Yep.
Is the Windstar a disc?
I mean,
I don't hate it.
It's got the trappings of a disc
yeah,
name.
it sounds
Right.
overstable.
Yeah, it'd be a star in the wind.
Yeah, I I say yes because I want it to be.
I'm on board. It sounds like a pretty good disc name.
Yep, I'm good with that.
You guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Discraft, January 1st, 1989.
Wow.
You're going way back
There's
here.
no way that thing was a star in the wind.
No way.
No,
That was a lid. Yeah.
All right. Jason, Evan, and Alex, category 1 or category 3?
Keep going 1.
Yep.
All right. Question 5, category 1. According to the King James Bible and the birds, to everything there is a season and a time for every what under the heaven. According to the King James Bible and the birds, to everything there is a season and a time to every what under the heaven.
I don't know about the Bible, but based on the song, I think that it is purpose.
Can you sing it?
No, yeah, I'm with you on that. That makes sense with the category too.
Yeah, I like it.
You guys agree?
Yep.
Is the purpose a disc?
I don't like it. So the aim was a disc, goal wasn't, sense was that a disc,
Sense was it?
It was, yeah.
and so was motive.
It's not tilted in any such manner that would make me want to go either direction based off that.
Right. I mean, I'm kind of pretty close 50-50, but I don't like the name purpose. I'm trying to think of like a scenario where somebody would name a disc that.
Yeah, it seems like something that like a big company would not have used. I don't know. I don't love it.
I wouldn't be wildly surprised, but I'm definitely happy going no.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, wouldn't be surprised, but I don't like the name. I say no.
All right, we'll say no, and then if it is, at least we agree it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Going no?
No.
Going no.
Essential Discs, February 2nd, 2023.
Damn that.
Is it really essential, though?
So we got 11 to 7. 2 questions left. Tim, Corey, and Jamin, category 1 or category 3. 1 question left in each category.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep rolling.
All right, question 6, category 3. What compact car model was produced by Kia from 2000 to 2009, succeeding the Cephia? What compact car model was produced by Kia from 2000 to 2009, succeeding the Cephia?
Tim, what were kids driving to high school back then?
That's what I'm trying to think. Like in college, what was the cheap Kia
Not
that
the
was on?
Sportage. That was more of an SUV and lasted longer. The Soul was newer.
Yeah, and that's not even compact. That's like a
Micro.
Isn't the Soul the weird boxy looking thing?
Oh, yeah.
Pseudo minivan.
Not Sorrento.
I'm just going to start naming Kias, okay?
Okay.
Have to be old Kias,
Sorrento.
though. They would be new Kias.
I don't know the difference.
You don't see them right now.
They're not around
I
anymore.
understand what old means.
What would like compete with like the Nissan? What is it?
Like your Hyundai Elantras and
Spectra.
Kia Spectra. Oh,
Yeah.
I do really like that, actually. You don't see
I
them
think
around
that's what it is.
anymore.
No, I think that's going through. I'm like thinking of like what was the crappy Nissan that they had? I'm going through that, and it sounded like the Sentra.
Sentra, yeah, they still got it.
Yep,
Kia
think it's
Spectra
Spectra.
sounds amazing.
I think that's what it is.
I vote that.
Okay, Spectra.
Sounds good.
Is the Spectra a disc?
All right, listen to my rationale here. I think it's a no, but not because of the name, but because last week, category 3 was all yeses, and the last one was a no.
So you think it was all yeses and the last one's a no again?
That's what I'm going with. That's my logic. You can shoot me down, but that's where my brain was thinking this whole time with category 3.
I'm going to guess
So,
that there is not a Spectra, but there is a Spectral. So I also say no.
Okay, I like it.
There's also a Spectre.
You guys saying no?
Correct.
Discraft, October 31st, 2005. Spectra. All right, final question. Jason, Evan, and Alex, what is the term for the force or energy with which a body moves, or the force that causes something to happen or be done? What is the term for the force or energy with which a body moves, or the force that causes something to happen or be done?
My first thought was inertia, and I'm pretty sure that is a disc, so I might be biased.
All right, here's my engineering brain overthinking it. Inertia's not a force, though.
Yeah, inertia is resistance to change. So if you're not moving, then you don't want to move. If you are moving, then you want to keep moving. So I don't think it's inertia.
So the question was, it's the force that causes something to move?
Yeah, like my initial thought would have just been force, but that's not, you can't, it's the type of force. We're looking for a type.
Can we hear it one more time, Pat?
What is the term for the force or energy with which a body moves, or the force that causes something to happen or be done?
It's like the cause, looking at the category, previous answers, same sort of situation.
Right. I was thinking energy, but then you use that in the question.
Yeah.
I mean, cause kind of fits.
Yeah. We're already out of the running to win, so if we're not coming up with anything too quickly, we can go a little calm with it.
Max Horowitz was a little calm with it when he shot -4 to win Wilcox warm-up league.
Nice.
He was due. He's a really good player, and I don't think he's been playing as well there. So he was due for a good one there.
What was the first part of the question, Pat?
It was, what is the force or energy that causes something to move?
What is the term for the force or energy with which a body moves?
I don't know. I agree with you guys. It's not inertia. I keep coming back to the word like initial. Like, what's the initial? I don't know.
Could it be power?
Thomas Doyle showed some power winning this beat club league on Thursday. Shot a -7. And they're using the UDisc handicap system. So that's cool.
Yeah, whatever you guys think. I'm at a loss.
We don't need to stress too much about this one.
Yeah, I don't like power either.
Yeah.
So is cause our best answer?
Sure.
Sure.
Go cause?
Sure.
Just cause?
Just cause.
Cause?
Just cause because.
Tim, Corey, and Jaimen, what is the term for the force or energy with which a body moves, or the force that causes something to happen or be done?
The first two thoughts I had was work and momentum. I don't really like momentum, but
Alex Zanuski liked momentum because he won Port Jervis Disc Golf Club Bag Tag League on Sunday with a -1.
that's momentous.
I like it.
But like something to be done.
Yeah, work or like effort, but effort's not a word for that. You know what I mean?
Work is like force being done, as in like force over time, I believe. Sense, motive, purpose, goal.
If you look at the rest of the I think work makes the most sense with the rest of the category. I don't really have any real guess, but I think work, out of the ones you've said so far, work makes the most sense out of everything else.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I got.
So a reread, our last reread, and then
Yeah, I like it.
What is the term for the force or energy with which a body moves, or the force that causes something to happen or be done?
yeah, I say work.
Work's got to be done.
You guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'll tell you, Tyler Ferrati put in some work shooting a -9 at Port Jervis Disc Golf Spring Summer League this week. But we were looking for impetus.
Oh.
Impetus.
That's fair.
Okay.
Momentum Discs, March 20th, 2023. So, looks like Tim, Corey, and Jaimen had 12 to Jason, Evan, and Alex with 7.
Good game, boys.
Yeah, nice shooting.
It's been a while since me and Jamin were on a team together, and
It worked.
Well, we just need a car category. That's it. That's all we need.
Yeah, if you guys pick category 2, I don't... Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, Pat, and have you done the... you said Greg Kurtz gave you an idea for a category recently. Has that come up yet?
No.
no, and it ain't gonna.
You got to give it some time because
eventually,
people have to forget.
Exactly. You just reminded me, so you just push it back 6 months.
Damn.
But Liam Gislason shot a -8 at Kisco Tuesday dubs.
You guys ever play Super Mario 3 on the original NES?
Yes.
Yes.
So you know when you go in like the little mushroom thing and there's like 3 boxes that are spinning? I learned that like based on the programming of that, they're all the same. So like you have this illusion of choice. There's these 3 like question marks, I think.
Yeah, 3 little chests, like treasure chests.
Yeah, I saw online somewhere that like the way the game's programmed, it's just a predetermined conclusion no matter what. And so anyway, sometimes I wonder if the categories are like that. Pat just like, you know what? Tonight category 3 is going to be this. Here you go.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Well, I've got 2 things on that. First of all, speaking of threes, there was a 3-way tie at Gunks Monday dubs. Bill Buckner and Dennis Flynn shot a -2. So did Brian Hauser and Kieran McCarthy and Dylan Brown and Nick Warren. The other thing is I have in the past switched up the categories, but typically the order of the categories is just when I finished them. Last week, the numbering problem was because I played freaking Stony Kill on Sunday. Sunday's when I usually organize stuff for disc or no disc. So if you want to blame anybody, blame B. Klein.
The rivalry build.
I was so focused on that, which Josh Winkler and Ryan Burrell were pretty focused shooting a -11 at Long Island Sunday dubs.
Nice. Pat, you're getting so good at this.
Yeah, really.
I started it late.
Corey, what are the percentages that you do the safari layout at J Park Dubs again this season?
100%. I'm assuming you didn't see my recent post.
No, I mean like after tomorrow.
After tomorrow, it's possible we do something else and then 2 J27s, but there's some interesting stuff coming up, yeah.
Okay. It's just I can't make tomorrow. When I saw the safari layout, I got really excited, so I tried to press to be able to play, and I can't.
Listen, you just tell whoever's asking about it that if they don't like it, they're easily replaceable.
That doesn't work.
Oh, you could try, though.
Sorry.
You can still try.
I could try. I'd probably be sleeping outside on the
Corey, how about J-Dubs last week? Do you know who won there?
Yeah, J-Dubs last week. I definitely know who won that. Sean Powers and Jay Gorsage absolutely popped off on Jay East. They beat everybody else by like 4 strokes, I think. Dave Chaikin came down for the first time, I believe. I played with him and came in second. And Justin Muccelli and Lenny Rabun also tied us for second. And Sean and Jay went 12 down. I think they went bogey free and somehow missed the birdie bank. They got all those birdies, and I think they missed one that they needed to hit the birdie bank. So that rolled over, I think, for just 2 weeks going into next week. So yeah, so I'm sure we'll talk about that next time. And Tim kind of already alluded to it, but we're playing a safari layout this week where we're combining some holes. So we're playing like 1 to 35's basket, 8 to 9's basket, 10 to 11's basket, 12 to 13's basket. Some, if you played like previous like Lasasso Safari events or whatever, you might have seen some of those holes.
Do you have to wear a costume?
No, it's wear what you brung, as long as it's not denim and work boots, because I'm tired of losing to those guys. Yeah, we're also playing hole 34 to 35's basket, which is kind of an interesting one. We haven't really done that before in any capacity that I know of, but
Is 34 the tennis courts?
yep.
So you're playing kind of a straight shot, right?
It's kind of like a weird,
Like straight through the swing set?
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I don't really know. We put it as a par 4, but I can't picture the best 2 route other than maybe like some type of backhand roller or like big power, like sky flexing forehand if you were to somehow have that. But should be interesting. Should be fun.
What about CTK Handicap League? Jamin, do you know who won there?
I do not remember. I got league going, and then I had to go back to school for like a budget vote concert thing. So
Did you do the Triple Lindy when you went back to school?
the what?
No, nobody here. That's
Rodney
Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, that's going back.
Yeah. Tom McGuckin won.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So we only had 5 people this week. So we played blue back and red front. So I actually, because that factors into the handicap, I have to delete that route somehow. Because I think it would screw everybody over, because they had a better week. Yeah, that was not super ideal of a league for me, just because I like drove all the way there, started it, and then left. Looking forward to not having to do that anymore.
All right. Let me zip through the ones I got left here. I think we mentioned last week, Prospect Park Dubs on Monday. Peter Fitzisti and Adam Nelson shot a -13. Saratoga Spa Random Dubs week 7. Bobby Hallam and is it Jamin Totino?
Jamin Totino. Yep.
All right. Do you like yell at him like Corey does other people who don't spell Corey the proper way?
No, he spells it right.
Oh, because on the UDisc it's Jamin.
Yeah, that's the right way to spell it.
Oh, you spell it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Being that I was born before Google, my parents knew that how the name sounded, but they didn't know how it was written and couldn't find it. So they just kind of made up the spelling.
But that makes you the J-Men.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the Saratoga community, James Varkala calls me Alt J.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep, I'm all right with that. Yeah, he also freaks out if we fist bump because he thinks it's going to create some kind of time paradox.
Warwick Tuesday Dubs, Tibor and Leighton Brinster shot a -8 to win there. DisCap Women's League, Alexis White shot a -2 to win. They played at Stony Kill. Regeneron Wednesday Dubs at Colonial Acres. Willie Harrison and Rob Hendricks shot a -4 to win. Shen Creek Dubs Week 8, Charles Carpenter Jr. III and Kevin Wen shot a -10 to win. Thursday, Kevin Wen again and Earl Steenberg shot a -8. They tied with Peter Cornish and Chris Dobson. That's CPS Thursday Dubs Week 6. Friday, Rob Valecki won the Skylands Friday Handicap League. TGI FDR Dubs, Evan Kehoe shot a -13 with his partner, Mr. Vuzas. SPW Dubs League, Dan Perry and Lenny shot a -5. Cody Miller and Eamon Foster shot a -10 to win Cranmore Dubs League. That is misnamed because they played CTK Reds.
The way that that league now is named, it's Cran and More, so it's Cranmore.
Okay.
No, I think that's how he
like
rationalizes the name. It's still the same name, but
Yeah, but I like it. Cran and More Dubs. Okay. Anything else before we go? Any birthdays coming up?
Shit, that was the last page I was on.
Today is Brian Monahan's birthday, so happy birthday, Brian.
I don't know if he should get 2 because you did mention him last week on recording day that it would be his birthday. So
Fine,
We'll
put
see
it
how
out.
the editor deals with this one. But
Denied.
yeah, anybody else?
Yeah, we got Jeff Wachowski was on Tuesday, so shout out Michigan Jeff, Mr.
Nice.
Captain Anheuser.
Tyler Calzada was yesterday. Did we already say that?
I might have mentioned that last
I think we
week,
mentioned
but
it last
I
week,
think
but
we talked. Yeah.
Oh,
to
okay.
Cal.
luckily Randy's not here to glaze him so hard, but we can mention him twice.
Yeah, Randy's on Friday.
Oh yeah, and Randy's on Friday.
oh, Randy's birthday's coming up. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or at least whatever he put into Facebook as his birthday is coming up.
All right. Well, I guess for his birthday, he got to raid the Lich King or something. All right. Well, good luck this weekend with Mindkill and all those who are playing Mindkill. We should have done picks. I didn't really think about it.
We're doing skip base picks.
Yeah, skip base picks are good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Tim, Evan, Corey, Alex, Jason, and Jamin, and sweet up. Hudson.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Pat.
Thanks, everybody.
So I just have to point out, every time I hear Corey say me and somebody, I want to correct it to somebody and I. But because that used to be a thing.
Yeah,
that we
and then
were
he
doing.
fixed it, and then I think he gave up on it again because we stopped
Yeah.
busting his chops.
Me fixing it was to appease certain people, and then
Yeah.
I forgot. I don't give a fuck. It sounds better to me. Me and Jamin and I sounds like I'm trying to force something that's not natural.
The point of language is to communicate effectively, and you are communicating effectively. So
Yes.
One of the things that I try to do is to keep everything casual. So busting your chops about proper English is kind of funny, though, because it's like everything else is like you hear beers cracking like 4 or 5 times during the episode.
yeah.
We're not that worried about me-ands.
Sometimes it is correct to say Jamin and me.
But the difficulty is figuring out those times. It's easier just to say whatever's more comfortable instead of stopping and saying, wait a second, me and, whatever.
The easiest way to remember for me is just to take the other person out. So what I say, like, I went to the store or me went to the store versus, oh, that package was for Pat and me, I wouldn't say that package was for I.
Evan, the problem is when I have to think about that, it's not when I'm talking. It's like when I'm writing it. It's like as I'm talking, I'll be like, oh, me and Jamin went out. And I'm like, wait, me? Like I'd have to think about it and stop. Like, is me the right tense there? And where when I'm writing, I'll be like, oh, yeah, let me take that out. But I don't. In Corey's defense, off the top of the head, it's hard to think about that.
Yeah, the bigger problem I think you're highlighting is too much thinking before speaking. That never works out. Just
Well,
say
yeah,
what-
that's the story of my life. I'm always overthinking.
Just talk and then deal with the repercussions afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I misspoke last episode, and I knew that because Terry Hudson messaged me. He's like, you actually birdied 13 through 17 at Stony Kill? I was like, I totally meant to say par. I thought I corrected myself in the moment, but yeah, no, did not do that, everybody. But par is all the way from 13 to 17. That felt good.
I don't even remember it.
I unmuted to try to jump in, but at that moment, my children went crazy, so I muted again and did not bring it up. So
No prospect dubs?
No, Jason said last week that he wasn't going to run one. I don't know if he had anything going on, but also the park was likely going to be busier than normal. But it was cool. I went to Shen earlier today with my family and met up. My former roommate is brand new into disc golf. So he brought his daughter and we brought our daughter and her friend. And he and I played a little 18 while the girls were playing on the playground.